Okay, so get this. Imagine a model, like an actual model that could predict how people behave,
Hmm.
not just in like some niche area, but across a ton of tasks and situations.
Right.
It'd be like having a crystal ball, but for human behavior.
Yeah.
Well, researchers are trying to do that
Hmm.
with a new computational model called Centaur,
Hmm.
and you guys have sent us a bunch of research on it,
Right.
and it's really interesting stuff. So we're gonna do a deep dive
Yeah.
into Centaur and
It's ambitious.
see what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. Uh, you're right to compare it to a crystal ball because one of the biggest challenges in AI
Mm-hmm.
has always been capturing that incredible versatility of human thinking.
Right, because it's like current AI models are amazing, but they're very
Mm.
specialized, right?
Yes.
They can do these incredible things,
Yeah.
but only within their like a narrow lane.
Right.
So like AlphaGo,
Uh-huh.
amazing. It can beat,
Yeah.
the world champion at Go,
Yeah.
but you ask it to write a poem
Right.
or plan a vacation, forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how is Centaur different?
Well, Centaur is aiming to be more of a generalist.
Okay.
So instead of mastering one specific task,
Hmm.
it's designed to reflect the broad spectrum of human cognition.
Okay.
And the way they did this is really fascinating.
Okay.
They trained a powerful language model on a massive data set of human behavior called Psych 101.
Psych 101.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Like a college
It's
course.
a fitting name
Yeah.
because it's essentially what it is, like a crash course in human psychology
Yeah.
for AI.
For the AI.
Right, we're talking data from 160 different psychology experiments
Yeah.
covering everything from decision-making to memory to learning.
Wow.
Yeah.
160 experiments. That's a crazy amount of data.
It is. It is. We're talking trial-by-trial data from over 60,000 participants,
Wow.
which translates to over 10 million choices.
Jeez.
It's like having this giant database
Yeah.
of how humans make decisions in all sorts of contexts.
Okay, so we've got this AI model. It's basically been schooled in human behavior. What did the researchers actually do with it?
Yeah.
What kind of tests did they run?
So they put it through its paces for sure.
Okay.
They tested it against existing cognitive models,
Okay.
the kind designed for very specific tasks,
Right.
and also against like a baseline language model,
Okay.
which is like a control group.
Gotcha.
And what's really remarkable is that Centaur consistently predicted how participants would behave better than those specialized cognitive models.
Oh, wow.
It was better in almost every single experiment.
Hold on. So it outperformed the models that were specifically designed for those tasks.
Yeah,
That's wild.
pretty remarkable.
How is that even possible?
Well, to measure performance, they used this thing called pseudo R2.
Okay.
It's basically a way to gauge how well the model's predictions line up with, real human choices.
Okay.
So like a pseudo R2 of 0 means it's just guessing randomly,
Right.
and a score of 1 means it's predicting perfectly.
Yeah. Gotcha. So like where on that pseudo R2 scale was Centaur scoring?
Yeah, so it wasn't just a little bit better, it was significantly more accurate.
Okay.
Across all the experiments, it averaged a pseudo R2 of 0.50,
Okay.
which is a huge leap from the base language model, which scored 0.36.
Right.
And get this, it even outperformed all those specialized cognitive models by an average of 0.18.
So it wasn't just like slightly better, it was
Mhm.
making predictions that are significantly closer to how real people behave.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it is.
Did they notice anything about the experiments themselves that
Yeah.
influenced how well Centaur performed?
Yeah.
Like, did it do better on certain types of tasks, or was
Yeah.
it pretty consistent
That's a good question.
across the board?
One really interesting finding
Okay.
was that Centaur's performance actually got better
Uh-huh.
as the number of participants in the data set increased.
Okay.
So that kind of suggests that the model thrives on the diversity of human behavior. The more data it has to learn from,
Mm.
the better it captures, all the nuances of how people think.
That makes sense. The more varied the training data,
Yes.
the better the model can be
Yeah,
at understanding how different humans approach a problem.
right.
But could Centaur do more than just predict, like, single choices?
Right.
Could it, like, simulate a whole sequence of decisions as if it were a person interacting with the world?
Exactly.
Okay.
They wanted to see if Centaur could go beyond making one-off predictions
Mm-hmm.
and actually simulate human-like behavior
Oh.
over a series of choices.
Okay.
This is what they call open-loop simulation.
Open loop simulation. Okay, break that down for me.
Okay, so imagine you're playing a game,
Okay.
In a normal test, the model might say, okay, given this situation, a person would probably choose option A.
Right.
But in open-loop simulation, it's more like Centaur is actually playing the game.
Okay.
So it makes a choice,
Uh-huh.
sees the outcome of that choice, then makes another choice based on that new situation,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
on and so forth.
Right.
So it's like it's actually interacting with the environment.
So it's not just predicting what someone would do. It's
Yeah.
like making decisions and learning from the consequences.
Exactly.
Like we do in real life.
Exactly. And what's amazing is that Centaur was successful at this.
Wow.
It didn't just imitate some average behavior.
Uh-huh.
It actually captured the variability that you see in a whole population of people.
That's incredible.
It is.
This is where things get even more mind-blowing.
Okay.
Remember how Centaur was trained purely on behavior?
Mhm.
Well, the researchers discovered something crazy about its inner workings.
Yeah.
It turns out that by training on behavior, they accidentally made the model's internal representations more human-like as well.
You're jumping ahead a bit.
Oh, sorry.
We need to talk about how they tested its ability to generalize first.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That's a crucial part of a unified theory of cognition.
You're totally right. I got ahead of myself. So they wanted to see if Centaur could handle brand new situations, not just the ones that it was trained on.
Correct.
How'd they go about testing that?
They came up with some really clever experiments.
Okay.
One of them involved what they call cover story robustness.
Okay.
Remember that open loop simulation with the two-step task we were talking about?
Yeah, where Centaur was basically playing that game,
Right.
making decisions based on the outcome of previous choices.
Right. Well, they used two different versions of that task.
Okay.
One used a classic spaceship theme.
Uh-huh.
So you're imagining you're piloting a spaceship
Okay.
trying to find treasure on different planets.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. The other version
Okay.
used a magic carpet theme.
Okay.
So instead of spaceships and planets,
Right.
you're on a magical carpet searching for gems.
So same basic task structure, just
Yeah.
different, like...
Exactly. And Centaur was only trained on one of those. Centaur only saw the spaceship version of the task during training.
Okay.
But when they tested it on the magic carpet version,
Yeah.
it still accurately predicted how people would behave.
Wait, so it was able to figure out the underlying logic of the task,
Yeah.
even with this total different story on
Yeah.
top.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good sign that it's not just memorizing patterns. It's
Wow.
like actually understanding
Right.
something deeper
Yeah, it really is.
about how decisions are made.
Yeah, and it gets even more impressive.
Okay.
They also wanted to test Centaur's robustness to actual changes in the structure of the task itself.
Oh, okay. So they were changing the rules of the game this time.
Right.
And not just the theme.
Exactly. So what do they do?
They used a task called Maggie's Farm.
Okay.
It's kind of like a classic two-armed bandit task.
Oh.
You know, like the slot machines where you have to choose between two levers.
Yeah, I get it.
Hoping to hit the jackpot.
Well, in Maggie's Farm, they added a third option.
Oh, okay.
So instead of just two choices,
Right.
there are three,
Okay.
which makes the task more complex.
So they threw a curveball at Centaur.
Yeah.
Something it had explicitly not seen before.
Right.
How'd it handle that?
Remarkably well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even though it had never encountered like a three-armed bandit task before,
Uh-huh.
it still performed well on Maggie's Farm.
Okay.
This suggests that Centaur has this surprising level of adaptability when it comes to changes in the task structure itself.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
But did they ever throw out like a truly wild card?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They tested Centaur on a set of logical reasoning tasks,
Okay.
and these were completely different from the decision-making tasks
Yeah.
it had been trained on.
So completely different type of thinking.
Yes, totally different.
Wow, that's a huge challenge.
Big time.
So how did it do? Was it able to hold its own?
Well, its accuracy wasn't quite as high as in those other experiments,
Mhm.
which isn't surprising,
Right.
given that it was venturing into brand new territory.
Totally.
But here's the kicker. It still performed better than the base language model.
So even though it was way outside its comfort zone,
Right.
it still showed some ability
Yeah.
to generalize, to learn.
It did, which is promising.
That's really promising.
Yeah, it suggests that Centaur has the potential to tackle new domains
Yeah.
with further training.
Yeah, that's a really encouraging sign.
It is.
This ability to generalize beyond its training data
Well,
is one of the most interesting things about Centaur.
it is.
It hints at the possibility of like a real breakthrough
Yeah,
in AI,
totally.
one that could fundamentally change how we understand the human mind.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we're getting to the part that I was really excited about.
Okay.
We've talked about how well Centaur can predict behavior,
Mm-hmm.
even in new situations.
Right.
But remember, it was only trained on how people act,
Yeah.
not necessarily on how their brains work. So did the researchers find any connection between Centaur's internal workings
Mm-hmm.
and what's going on in a real human brain?
That is the million-dollar question, and that's what they wanted to know.
Yeah.
So they had to get creative
Okay.
and see if they could use Centaur's internal representations.
Okay.
Think of it like the model's thought process
Okay.
to predict actual human brain activity.
Wait, so they were able to connect
Yeah.
what's happening inside the AI to,
Oh.
like, brain scans?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
They used a technique called fMRI,
Okay.
which measures brain activity by detecting changes in blood flow.
Okay.
They ran 2 separate experiments to see if Centaur's internal workings, signed up with real human brain data.
Okay, what were the experiments?
So in the first experiment, they focused on that 2-step tasks
Huh.
we keep talking about.
Right.
And they wanted to see if they could use Centaur's internal representations to predict the brain activity of people, while they were performing that task.
Oh.
Well, the results were pretty amazing.
Okay.
Centaur's predictions of human brain activity were significantly better
Wow.
than the predictions from the base language model.
Hold on, so just by training it on human behavior,
Yeah.
they kind of accidentally made its step process
Right.
more aligned with the human brain?
That's what it suggests, yeah.
That's crazy.
And they saw a similar pattern in their second experiment, which was even more intriguing.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Tell me about this second experiment.
Okay, so for this one, they used fMRI data
Okay.
from people reading simple sentences.
Sentences.
Yeah.
That's a far cry from the decision-making tasks
I know.
Centaur was trained on.
I know. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
They were just simple 6-word sentences.
Right.
Nothing complicated.
But still, sentences,
Yeah.
that's a big jump.
Yeah.
So what did they find?
They found that Centaur's internal representations, especially those from the middle layers of the model,
Okay.
were much better at predicting brain activity in the language areas of the brain than the base language model.
Wait, so
Very
Centaur was never specifically trained on brain data? Or-
Never. It was purely based on behavior.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's like the model developed like a
Uh-huh.
rudimentary understanding of language.
Yeah.
Just by learning to predict how humans behave
You got it.
in a range of tasks.
Yeah.
It's wild.
This unexpected alignment
Yeah.
between Centaur's internal workings
Uh-huh.
and human neural activity
Yeah.
opens up a whole new world
Right?
of questions and possibilities.
Yeah.
It suggests this deep connection
Right.
between behavior and brain function
Yeah.
that we're only just beginning to understand.
Okay. So we've got this model that's amazingly good at predicting human behavior,
Right.
even generalizing to new situations.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing that its inner workings are starting to resemble
Yeah.
the human brain.
Yeah.
This is huge. Where does this lead us? What's the big picture here?
Well, it brings us a step closer to answering
Yeah.
one of the fundamental questions in cognitive science.
Okay.
Is it even possible to build a model
Right.
that truly reflects the incredible versatility of the human mind?
Yeah. And is Centaur the answer?
I mean, it's a giant leap
Yeah.
in the right direction.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the 1990s when Alan Newell,
Mm-hmm.
this prominent computer scientist, proposed this set of criteria
Yeah.
for what a unified theory of cognition should look like?
Huh.
It was like a checklist for any model
Yeah.
that aims to explain how the human mind works.
Like a blueprint for
Exactly.
building a mind.
Exactly. And what's exciting is that Centaur is actually ticking off many of the boxes
Oh, wow.
on Newell's list.
That's great.
It operates in real time, meaning it processes information and makes decisions as quickly as humans can.
Right.
It responds dynamically to changes in the environment,
Yeah.
adapting to new information just like we do.
Right.
And it has access to vast knowledge thanks to that massive language model
Uh-huh.
it's built on.
It sounds like Centaur is
Yeah.
fulfilling that vision in a way that no other model has before.
Yeah.
But this is all still pretty theoretical, right?
Right.
What are the real world
Yeah.
implications of Centaur's success?
Yeah. So think about it this way.
Yeah.
If you have a model that can reliably predict how people will behave,
Uh-huh.
you can use it to design and test all sorts of things
Mm.
without involving real people.
Oh, so like a virtual lab
Yeah,
for psychology experiments.
exactly. You could run simulations and get a sense of how people might react to certain situations or stimuli.
That'd be really valuable for researchers.
Oh, incredibly. It would save so much time, effort, and resources.
Right, because,
Adding-
I mean, think about it. You could use it to figure out which experimental designs would be most effective,
Exactly.
how to reduce the number of participants needed for a study,
Right.
maybe even estimate the likely outcome of an experiment
Yep.
before you even run it.
Totally.
That would be incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. But it goes beyond just research.
Okay.
Imagine the potential in fields like education, healthcare, even marketing.
Okay, so Centaur could help us design better teaching methods,
Wow.
more targeted treatments,
Yep.
even like more persuasive advertising campaigns.
Exactly. By understanding how people are likely to behave in different situations.
Right.
We can create systems and interventions that are tailored to their specific needs and preferences.
This is incredible.
It's pretty amazing.
It sounds like Centaur could revolutionize the way we approach research and problem solving in a ton of different fields.
I think so.
This is really cool.
It is, yeah. It really
Yeah.
does open up a world of possibilities.
It does.
But it's important to remember that Centaur was trained to mimic human behavior,
Right.
not necessarily to think exactly like a human.
Right.
So the researchers wanted to know, did this training on behavior
Yeah.
also make Centaur's inner workings more human-like?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
It's like if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck,
Right.
does it also have the brain of a duck?
Exactly.
Did they actually like figure out a way to peek inside Centaur's mind?
They did. They used Centaur's internal representations. Think of it as the model's thought process.
Okay.
And compared them to actual human brain activity measured using fMRI.
Wait, so they were able to connect what's going on inside this AI to actual like brain scans?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is pretty groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah.
They did 2 separate experiments
Okay.
to test this.
Okay.
The first one used the 2-step task we've been talking about.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to see if Centaur's internal representation, so the way it processes information,
Right.
matched up with the brain activity of people while they were doing the task.
Okay, so they were basically looking for similarities in the patterns of activity. Did they find any? Was Centaur thinking like a human?
The results were really compelling.
Oh.
Centaur's predictions of human brain activity were significantly more accurate
Wow.
than the predictions made by the base language model.
So just by training it on human behavior,
Yeah,
they sort of accidentally made its thought process
right.
like mirror the human brain.
To some degree, yeah.
To some degree, that's amazing. What about the second experiment?
The second experiment was even more fascinating because they took it in a completely different direction.
Okay.
This time they used fMRI data
Okay.
collected from people reading simple sentences,
Sentences.
just 6 words long.
Sentences.
Nothing too complex.
It seems like such a jump from the decision-making tasks
I know.
that Centaur was trained on.
I know. That's what makes the results so fascinating.
Yeah. How could it possibly predict brain activity related to language?
Well, they discovered that Centaur's internal representations, particularly those from the middle layers of the model,
Okay.
were better at predicting brain activity in the language processing areas of the brain
Okay.
compared to the base language model.
Hold on. I need to make sure I'm understanding this correctly.
Okay.
Centaur was never specifically fed any information about language
Right?
or how the brain processes it.
That's right. It was purely trained on human behavior.
That is absolutely mind-blowing.
It is.
It's as if simply by learning to predict human behavior across a diverse range of tasks,
Right.
Centaur developed this fundamental understanding of language
Uh-huh.
and how the brain handles it.
Precisely. Yeah, and this unexpected alignment
Yeah.
between Centaur's internal workings and human neural activity
Yeah.
raises so many fascinating questions.
It does.
And it opens up all these new avenues for research.
Totally.
It suggests this deep connection
Yeah.
between behavior and brain function
Right.
that, like I said, we're only just beginning to understand.
Okay, so big question. We've got this model that can accurately predict human behavior,
Yeah.
even in these unfamiliar situations.
Uh-huh.
And now we're seeing that its internal workings actually resemble the human brain in some ways.
Yeah,
Does this mean we finally cracked the code
that's the question.
of human cognition?
Right.
Is Centaur the key to unlocking all the mysteries of the mind?
It's certainly a massive step towards that ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Remember when we talked about Alan Newell's criteria for unified theory of cognition?
Right, like he laid out a roadmap for what
He did.
such a model should be capable of.
Exactly.
Like a checklist
Yep.
for building a model that truly represents the
Right.
human mind.
Exactly. And what's so exciting is that Centaur is fulfilling many of those criteria.
Oh, wow.
It operates in real time, just like the human brain.
Okay.
It processes information and makes decisions
Yeah.
with incredible speed.
It's also incredibly adaptable,
Right?
able to respond to changes in the environment,
Yeah.
learn from new information.
Right.
And thanks to that massive language model at its core,
Right.
it has access to this vast storehouse of knowledge.
It really sounds like Centaur is bringing that vision to life in a way that we haven't seen before.
It is. It is.
But how does all of this translate to the real world?
Right.
What are the practical applications of Centaur's capabilities?
Yeah.
How can it benefit us beyond these, like, theoretical achievements?
Yeah, the possibilities are vast.
Yeah.
And we're only just scratching the surface.
Right.
Just imagine if you have a model that can reliably predict human behavior.
Yeah.
You could use it to design and test virtually anything
Okay.
without involving real people.
That's an interesting concept.
It is.
What kind of applications are we talking about?
Well, think about fields like psychology, education, healthcare, even marketing.
Okay.
Centaur could revolutionize research by allowing scientists to run virtual experiments. Right.
And test hypotheses in simulated environments.
Right.
This would be incredibly valuable for understanding complex human behaviors and developing more effective interventions.
So you're saying we could, like, test new therapies or teaching methods
Right.
without having to, like, conduct large-scale trials
That's
with
amazing.
human participants.
Exactly. It would accelerate the pace of research
Right.
and allow us to explore a wider range of possibilities
Yeah.
without the ethical concerns
Right.
and logistical challenges of traditional human studies.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What about other fields?
Yeah.
How could Centaur be applied in, like, healthcare or marketing?
Well, in healthcare, Centaur could be used to develop personalized treatment plans
Okay.
tailored to individual patients
Okay.
by analyzing a patient's medical history, lifestyle, behavioral patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Centaur could predict how they might respond to different treatments and recommend the most effective course of action.
Right. So it would lead to, like, more targeted and hopefully successful interventions.
Exactly. Improving patient outcomes,
Yeah.
potentially saving lives.
And what about marketing? How could, like, an AI that understands human behavior be used in that field?
Well, marketing is all about understanding consumer behavior,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So with Centaur, marketers could gain unprecedented insights
Okay.
into how people make purchasing decisions,
Sure.
what motivates them,
Right.
what influences their preferences.
Mm-hmm.
It could help them craft more effective advertising campaigns,
Yeah.
tailor their messaging to specific target audiences,
Yeah.
ultimately create more engaging
Right.
and successful marketing strategies.
This all sounds incredibly promising.
Yeah.
But I can't help but wonder about the, like, potential downsides.
Right.
You know, if we're talking about an AI
Uh-huh.
that can predict human behavior
Yeah.
with this level of accuracy,
Yeah.
are there any ethical concerns?
Of course, that's a crucial question. And it's one that researchers are actively grappling with as these technologies advance.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that Centaur, like any AI,
Right.
is a tool.
Yeah.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
So the responsibility lies with us,
Yes.
the humans,
Yes.
who develop and deploy these technologies
Absolutely.
to ensure that they're used ethically and for the benefit of humanity.
Exactly.
It sounds like we're, like, entering uncharted territory here,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of challenges ahead,
Oh, sure.
but the potential rewards are immense.
They are.
Imagine a world where we can leverage the power of AI to, like, understand ourselves better,
Uh-huh.
create more effective solutions to these complex problems,
Yeah.
and ultimately build a brighter future
Yeah.
for everyone.
It's a future worth striving for.
It is.
And Centaur is showing us that it might be closer than we think.
Well, this has been an absolute mind-blowing deep dive
Yeah, it has.
into the world of AI and its potential to unlock the secrets of the human mind.
It has.
It seems like Centaur is just the beginning
Yeah,
of a very exciting journey.
I agree.
And I, for one, can't wait to see what the future holds.
Yeah, it really is incredible to think about,
Yeah.
we might be on the verge of like a whole new era
Oh.
of understanding the
Right.
human mind.
It's amazing.
And it's all thanks to this, like, fascinating intersection of AI and cognitive science.
Yeah, absolutely.
Centaur is clearly a remarkable achievement.
Yeah.
Where do you think the long-term implications of this could lead?
Well, I think what's really fascinating is that Centaur's success could, like, pave the way for training even more sophisticated cognitive models.
Okay.
Models that are, like, directly informed by brain data and theories from neuroscience.
So instead of just learning from behavior, we
Yeah.
could build models that actually incorporate
Right.
what we know about the physical structure
Uh-huh.
and function of the brain.
Like, we could combine the power of AI
Yeah.
with the incredible complexity of the human brain.
Exactly. Imagine the insights we might gain
Yeah.
about the architecture of the human mind.
Yeah.
If we could bring those two worlds together,
Wow.
we could unravel mysteries
Right.
that have puzzled scientists for centuries.
Yeah.
We might finally gain a deeper understanding of consciousness,
Right.
creativity,
Yeah.
all those things that make us uniquely human.
It's almost too much to, like,
I know.
comprehend, you know?
It is.
We're talking about, like,
Right.
potentially unlocking the deepest secrets
Yeah.
of the human mind.
Absolutely.
But Centaur's just the beginning, right?
It is. Think of it as a crucial stepping stone.
Okay.
It's shown us that this, like, ambitious goal,
Mm-hmm.
this dream of a unified theory of cognition,
Right.
might actually be within reach.
Yeah.
And it's opened up this whole new set of possibilities for how we'd approach the study of the mind.
Well, this has been an absolutely mind-blowing deep dive into the world of AI
It has.
and the human mind.
It has.
Thanks to Centaur.
Yeah,
It feels like we're on the cusp of a new era of discovery.
absolutely.
An era where those boundaries
Uh-huh.
between AI and cognitive science continue to blur.
Yeah, for sure.
Who knows what amazing breakthroughs await us on this incredible journey.
It's a journey full of potential.
It is.
I'm excited to see where it leads.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of the frontiers of human understanding.
Absolutely. My pleasure.